Sarah Ann. For those of us who don't know you, we are very happy to share this morning with you. I hope everybody had their breakfast and has their coffee. Would you tell us, for those of us who don't know you, just who are you and what do you do?
So, as Annette said, or JT said, my name is Sarah Ann. I'm a lot of things. I'm a Pilates instructor. I'm a musical theatre performer, mostly. And yeah, I also dabble in administration and whatever the brief needs me to be, basically.
That's fantastic. And tell me, because today we are talking about worship, who is Jesus to you? And just tell us how you met him. How did it start?
So I met Jesus. I didn't grow up in a Christian home. We went to church a couple times, but it wasn't a thing in our house. But I met Jesus for the first time when I was in grade 7 at school, basically. But I would say my journey really started with him when I was in my first year of musical theatre, and I got saved. Well, I got recommitted like the first week I was there, basically orientation week. And I'm so grateful that I did, because I really needed him in those 4 years that I was there. And so I studied musical theatre for 3 years, and then I did my degree in my 4 years. And then I went on to work in the industry. I've been in the industry since 2011. And Jesus has guided my every step in this industry. As I explained later on, it is a difficult, very difficult industry to be in, but also very exciting. And the Lord is so faithful, so faithful. To me, He is not just, He's not just my Father. He is the Holy Spirit helps me to get jobs, helps me to know which jobs to take, helps me to enjoy the jobs that I'm doing. And I mean, there's been interesting moments, and there's been very, very challenging moments in it. But to me, Jesus is completely my guide. He's completely my like, if I think about a boat and what is that thing at the back, the rudder, what, I don't know boats, but he basically guides that little thing at the back, and I follow where he needs me to be. What I wanted to say in the beginning is I've done a few shows, big shows that you might know of, like I did West Side Story for the 3 seasons that was in Cape Town and Joburg, and things like the Afrikaans pantomime that was supposed to happen now but didn't happen, and things like that. So it's been a journey. It's been amazing to be part of those shows and to be in that realm, because Jesus ate with, you know, the sinners and the tax collectors and the prostitutes and everything. And sometimes it feels a bit like that when I'm in the industry, but I love it. I love being there. I love being with the people, and I love how he guides me around people that we as Christians are not always used to being around. So yeah.
And tell us, what is your favorite part of the performing arts industry in South Africa?
Oh, I was thinking about this. There are so many things that I love. I love the rush of it. I love auditions are very crazy and very scary, but I love going and not knowing, am I going to get it? Am I not going to get it? What is, how's this going to work? And I love South Africa has an amazing drive for performing arts. We had a lecturer when I was in varsity from the States, and we did like an exchange thing, and he said we asked him what's the difference between South African performers and American performers, and he said there's something about South Africa that is so raw, and there's so much passion, and there's so much drive, and like we will stop at nothing to get the job done. And in South Africa, we have to do everything ourselves. On stage, we move our own props, we move our own set. They are props people and set people, but we do a lot of the stuff ourselves. Whereas in America and in the UK, there are people to do that, and there's people to do this and people to do that. But South Africans want to work. We want to work. We want to be there. There's like a grit almost in the industry here that is very different from overseas. So yeah, South Africa, I'm glad that I stayed here. I think, I'm glad that I stayed in this industry particularly. I think we have so much history with our industry. We have so much to look forward to with our industry, and it's a pity that COVID has happened, because the musical theater industry was just starting to really like get going, and there were shows that are happening all the time, and now it's sort of taken a huge, it's taken a huge knock, and so I'm hopeful that it'll pick up again. Oh my word, have I answered your question even? I feel like I can say so much stuff, but just tell me if I'm not answering your question, please.
Gooi it. No, I love what you're sharing.
But yeah, the commitment, and the drive in South Africa is it cannot be matched anywhere else. I think that our history has just given us something else, a different flavor that we just can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, I hear you. And as an artist, how do you manage to make your work to be worship? You said that you rely on God to help you know which jobs to take and which not, and to enjoy it more, what you do. How would you say you apply it in the industry? Also knowing that not everybody is Christian and not everything is necessarily a Christian product.
Yeah. So for me, it starts with the audition process. I have an agency, and I will get a brief from my agent, and first I will read what it is about. Sometimes it's clear cut and I know, okay, that is not for me. This is definitely for me, but then there are the gray areas that I'm not sure. I just and that I take a lot of time to pray into, and the Lord has taught me over these years, if you doubt, then it's probably not for me. So I those gray areas, I've done a show where it was a gray area and I was so unbelievably unhappy the whole time, and it was a fight the whole time for purity and for, oh man, just to the Lord helped me win the fights, but it was tough. It was a tough journey in that shows particularly, but so it starts with the audition process, and I asking the Lord whether I should be in the show or not, and then I audition, and then it's up to them to choose me or not. I can pray for favor and I can pray for all of that, but the Lord will either highlight me to them or not. West Side Story just happened to be one of those shows that I was very right for. I look foreign, and so it just worked, and I was so grateful because it's literally my favorite show, so it feels like a bucket list show that I've done, which is amazing. And the process there, during, like, let's use West Side Story as an example. The process with that, just to worship Jesus through the production. There's a thing in our industry where you'll get the show, but then we're doing, let's say a short run is 3 months. We're doing 3 months of a show. We're doing 8 shows a week, and you're doing the same thing every day. So it can become mundane. It can become just like, I'm just going to work and I'm just doing a thing. And the Lord has told me to really be grateful every day, because there are kids, and I was one of those kids sitting in the audience dreaming of being on that stage wishing, hoping, waiting, am I going to do it? And we have to remind ourselves. And so in that way, that's also worship for me, is every day just coming in and being like, Lord, I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you that I get to be on the stage. Thank you that I get to worship you on the stage. And that's sort of a habit that I cultivated. I would stand backstage. I used to do it a lot with the pantomime that happens at the end of every year at the Joburg Theatre. And then I remember standing there. I was like a fairy or whatever. In the panto, you just like literally everything. You go from being a chicken to a dog to a princess. It's wacky, but you do it. So I remember standing backstage and I was like, okay, God, like every day, thank you for this day. I just worship you with this. May you dance through me. That's something that I've been saying a lot. And I sang a song. I got the opportunity in the third run of West Side Story to sing Somewhere, which was both frightening and exhilarating. and also every day I'm like, Holy Spirit, sing through me today. Just like let these words touch somebody in the audience in a different way, even though the words are not necessarily a Christian song, but there's something in it that somebody can take from it. So yeah, that is the way I worship the Lord. In the industry and in the shows that I do. Sometimes there are other Christians with me in the show, and then we say, okay, cool, we're going to do a 5-minute prayer before each show. So if anybody wants to join us, they're welcome to join. And it's amazing, like, to see the people that come. And that opens up a lot of doors to pray for people, because they become, their guards come down, and then I can say to them, listen, is there anything we can pray for today? And 99% of the time, if it's a dance show, it's something physical that's broken that you need to pray for healing for. So that has been also part of worship, is opening up the boundaries for prayer. And it is, I mean, it's scary, but that's what God calls us to do, to pray for each other and to pray for the lost. So yeah, worship is for me, it's not a separate thing to the industry that I'm in. It is together, because worship is in me, and I worship the Lord with what I do, with every move that I make, with every song that I have to sing. It cannot be sort of separate for me. Yeah.
I was going to ask you how if you ever experienced when you dance on stage or you sing and it's not necessarily a Christian song, how God can use that and use you everywhere where you are to have an influence on somebody, to speak to somebody.
Yeah.
I love how he can use art like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's some shows where, like, I did David the musical many years back, and that's different, because then you literally are a worshiper like that, and you were free to lift your hands, and you were free to do whatever. There were certain scenes where you could literally, and that was so great. That was so awesome, and I wish there were more shows like that. But I mean, just using the talents, like just using what God has given me, is already worship unto Him. Just being able to dance that way, and just being grateful, being in the moment. And I think it applies to every job, really. I can go to if I work at an office, I can go there every day and just work, or I can be like, I worship you with this typing. Or whatever. I don't think worship is restricted to dance necessarily. I think it's in everything. It's in us. It's in everything that we do. Yeah.
Another thing that you said was how when you said you were just right for West Side Story, I saw the photos, beautiful photos.
Thank you.
And I thought that I wanted to say something now and I forgot, but it was about your unique flavor, the flavor that you bring where in any work, but the flavor that you bring to the stage or to the company or the people that you work with is also a way that God, you mentioned that. I just wanted to that was nice for me to hear. And then challenges, you mentioned a few, but would you say what challenges you would like to highlight?
It's always challenges is always, it's always purity. It always comes down to purity. It always comes down to you know, how far is too far, you know, in a role, with a character, and in the end, I often ask myself the question, like, is this going to glorify the Lord, or is it not? And that show that I spoke about before, it was just a miscommunication with the production team and the role that they wanted me to go for. They said it was this one thing, and then when we got to rehearsal, because it was quite a workshop show, it started becoming something else, and I was like, whoa, what's happening? So it's always a fight for purity, always. And that shows in particular, praise the Lord that they were willing to adapt things for me, but it was so difficult. It was really difficult. And this also goes with not just theater. I also audition a lot for film and TV, and I mean you know how it is in the industry out there. Like, what are my boundaries? Like, what will I do and what won't I do? And I have to stick by that. And when I was in varsity, it's like so funny. We also had, like, we called ourselves the Kingdom Kids. We had this little group of friends that were just like on fire for the Lord, and we were all sort of recently saved-ish, and we were just like, we're like, no, we won't do that. Yes, we will do that, whatever. And our lecturer, I'll never forget my lecturer saying, you know, you Christians, like, you're never going to work. You're never going to work in this industry. You know, you can't just say no all the time. You've got to say yes to the stuff. You just have to take whatever work you get. And I'm the only girl in my class that's still doing musical theater. I have done at least one show every year. I've been very blessed to do at least one show every year. And what she said was such a lie. Like, I mean, I serve a huge God who can give me any job. So I'm very grateful that I have had the opportunities to say, like, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not, I'm going to wait for something else, because I know God has something else for me. I don't need to settle. I don't need to just do this job because it's the only job that there is, and it really isn't. The industry is small in our country, but there is work. So yeah, purity is always, it's always the thing. I guess that's what in our lives as well. But in our industry, where there's so much darkness, like, to really be the light, and to really show that you can be in this industry, and you can have standards, and you can stick by them. Yeah.
And you've experienced God as being faithful when you stand for
totally.
what you believe in.
Yeah, totally. Always. And so unexpectedly so. Like, for me, you know, I think we always do that. We think you're sort of surprised when something cool happens, and why do we do that? You know, the Lord is faithful. That's what He is. So yeah, and I thankfully I've had other work in between the shows that I've done. That's been very helpful, because, you know, bread and butter is important. But yeah, in terms of musical theater, like, the Lord has been faithful with the shows that I want to do, and what is pure, and what isn't.
And if you can give one or two things to little Sarah Ann, who's sitting there dreaming to be on stage one day, what advice would you give her from where you are now?
To not be scared of the uncertainty of it all, and to really go for it. Like, I actually remember I was 12 years old, and I was watching Fame. I don't know what year that was. I can't even remember. But I was watching Fame, and there were Colin McFarlane, who used to be on. Sorry, the sun is like hectic. Yeah, he used to be on Backstage. I don't know if any of you remember Backstage even, but he used to be on Backstage. He was in the show, And oh no, now it's too dark. Okay, hang on.
It's just the spotlight. The spotlight is on you. You can't escape it.
I can't escape it. Yeah,
In a good way.
he used to be on backstage, and I remember seeing him in the show, and I was like, oh, I would love to do what he's doing. I'd love to perform. And then when I did West Side Story, I performed with him on stage, with him and two of the other cast members from Fame. And I was just like, yes, the Lord is cool. Because I remember being that 12-year-old sitting there dreaming about being on stage with them, and it happened. And so yeah, to tell myself not to be scared, to go for what you feel, what the desire is in your heart, and to trust that the Lord is going to guide you, to keep your eyes fixed on him, and to not doubt him, actually, because that is, it is scary out there, and doubts come, but just to really just fix your eyes on him, and know that he is there. And ultimately, I'm not in this industry for myself anymore. I'm in it for him. And every show that I do, it's like, okay, God, like, how can we love these people? How can we this is so irritating. How can we love these people? How can we how can we how can I bring them closer to you? How can I bring your heart to them? And one way that he's showed me how to do that is especially in the dressing rooms. I mean, I sit with these girls, we sit next to each other every day, and we chat about stuff, and the Lord has really, really been faithful. That's a whole nother topic, but but yeah, basically just to not lose hope, to not doubt, and just keep looking at him, and he'll guide your every move, basically.
And the last question, I don't want it to be the last question, because I think there's a lot I would like to know more. But if you define worship for us, how would you say, what's worship to you? You singing
Sure.
and dancing and more.
Worship for me is expression of the heart. So in musical theater, when we can't talk anymore, we sing. And when we can't, when the emotion is too much, we sing. When the emotion gets even too much for singing, we dance. And that for me, that is what worship is when I can't express it with my words, I have to move it out. I have to, and in doing that, it changes everything. I was saying to a friend during this lockdown time, like, doubts come and things come and fears come, and the Lord is like, but I want you to sing. I want you to worship me. And every time I do that, every time I worship, things change. Things just change in my heart. Things change in my mind. It renews my mind, because worship edifies him, and it gives him the glory, but it actually does a lot for me. So it's funny how that works. Like, we're glorifying him, but at the same time he's working in us, and he's renewing my heart. So worship is, I guess, a renewal as well, and to keep focus, on him. I think I've seen in the last, especially this lockdown time has been so rough for everyone, and the minute I stop worshiping, the minute I stop singing, my mind goes mad. And if I just surrender, and just worship, I'm completely restored and completely renewed, and my focus is back, and I'm like, right, let's take on this week, or whatever it is. So worship is for me an expression. It's a renewal. It's a focus, and it's a focus on what really matters, and a surrender as well of yourself. Denying your flesh and just surrendering your heart to him fully.
That is well said. Thank you so much, Sarah, and
such a pleasure
for sharing a bit. I saw, yes, I was on Facebook. I saw your photo, and I'd love to see more. So Sarah Ann van der Merwe, for those of you who want to go and look her up and know more. So we're going to go over to the little bit of more practical now. And I am going to just put on a little bit of music here for us. But the idea of this part is for you to relax. It's well, it's a cloudy morning here. It's typical Irish weather here for us today. I don't know how it is there, but it's morning, and I want you just to. There's a lot going on at the moment, so we want to talk a little bit about worship in your private space today. And if I can get this on, then we will start. So again, as Talita said, you are very welcome to turn off your screens, or if you want to turn it on for the exercise. It's really, really special to share this time together with you guys. So, can you hear the music? Okay, and can you hear me talking all right? Clearly?
Night turns to morning.
There we go. If you have any problems, just give me a shout or just leave a message on the comments there if you know how. So you're welcome in this time. I'm just going to stay close to the computer, but you can stand up if you have a little space. You can just stand up, just stretch a little bit, and just start moving a little bit. Just to relax. I'm actually going to do this for us. Okay. So we talked about worship, and we know that it is, it might sound strange to some, especially when you think of dancing with worship. And for that reason, I just thought body language is not a strange thing for us. It's actually, we use hand signals, we use facial expression, all that, and it's to express more. And as Sarah Ann said, it was brilliant because it's exactly what I was thinking about and what I've learned, is that worship is a response, and it's a response to who God is. Our God is great. He's great, great, great God. He's the highest God. He has the highest authority. And being this amazing great God, always in control, He also wants to have parts of the smallest details of our lives every day. He wants to know every detail, He wants to hear everything, and He wants to share everything with us as well. He's already shared everything about that. So, what I like about movement, I've used prayer while exercising before, so that is something nice to keep in mind, that while you exercise, you can always use it as prayer time. Tell God how you feel. Tell Him if you're angry, if you're stressed. Tell Him what's frustrating you. And pray for the people who's on your heart, and pray His blessings over circumstances in your life. I just want to mention that by communication, worship is basically communication. It's expressing, and it's also allowing God through His Holy Spirit to speak to us His truth, that we can focus on the word, and that His Holy Spirit helps us understand better. It also, His Holy Spirit is also talking through us to other people. And we can use dancing like we can use any other form. Paint, draw, sing, make music, use drama, photography, videography, anything. And it's so wonderful, and God is so creative. But dancing is such a big part of the way we express and look. First song, it's a little part of it. So we need to think of three things that is causing stress. Grateful for what God has done in your life, and then I want you to say three of them. I'm going to quiet down now for a bit. I just want you to in your own space. private space where you can talk to God with your first love. That's where relationship grows. The most we need that one-to-one communication. Use your time with God and just have a nice deep breath while you do that.
I'm waking up, I'm waking up. I'm waking up, I'm waking up.
Okay, so I'm going to put the music on again, and you're welcome if you want to write or if you want to just do it in your own while you move. But it is just a bit of prayer time. I want us to reflect, to think of things that are maybe causing some stress for us at the moment, and just to tell that to God. Also, then I want you to think of 3 things that you're grateful for, and then also just give compliments to God. That would be for the last part of this song. And then for the next song that's going to start is We Dance. And I want you to picture how you are dancing with someone that's a loved one to you. So um, it can be your dad, or it can be brother, or a beloved, or a best friend. And I just want you to picture how you are dancing with God in whichever way you feel comfortable, and then also to ask him to show you how he is here with you and how you're dancing with him, enjoying it while all of us are just enjoying a little bit of time with him.
You steady me, slow and sweet. We sway, take the lead, and I will follow. Finally ready now to close my eyes and just believe that you won't lead me where you don't go. When my faith gets tired and my hope seems lost, you spin me round and around and remind me of that song, the one you wrote for me, and we dance. And we dance. And I've been told to pick up my sword and fight for love. Little did I know that love had won for me. Here in your arms, you're still my heart again. I'll breathe you in like I've never breathed till now. When my faith gets tired and my hope seems lost, you spin me round and around and remind me of that song, the one you wrote for me, and we dance. Oh, we dance. Oh, when we dance, we dance. Oh, we dance, just you and me. And I will lock eyes with the one who's ransomed me, the one who gave me joy from morning. And I will lock eyes with the one who's chosen me, the one who set my feet to dancing. Oh, I will lock eyes with the one who's ransomed me, the one who gave me joy for morning. And oh, I will lock eyes with the one who's chosen me, the one who set my feet to dancing. Oh, we dance. Oh, we dance. And oh, we dance, we dance. Oh, we dance, just you and me. It's nice to know I'm not alone. I've found my home here in your arms. It's nice to know I'm not alone. I've found my home here in your arms. It's nice to know I'm not alone. I've found my home here in your arms. It's nice to know, not alone. I've found my home here in your arms.
Now that was Stephanie Gritzinger, You Make Me Dance. Or it's just We Dance. It's from You Make Me Brave, the album. So that was just a little bit of time for you to just reflect and just calm down if it was a busy week, or as I said, there's a lot going on. But what I also want to say is that there's a lot of fun that we can have, and a lot of power as well in dancing. And the first time that I had an experience with somebody dance worshiping was I was a teenager, and it was at our student church back in Potchefstroom. And I was at the back of the church. It was not a very light atmosphere, light at the back. And there was one lady, she was a student, and I noticed she was doing basic port-de-bras movements while we were praise and worshiping. The band was going at the front, and she was just doing port-de-bras movements. Like, I just have to show you, I just move my chair. But she was basically going like, she was just having her moments, like she was just doing this and opening and going like this, and it was just her, nobody was seeing her, but I saw that, and I've never seen that before, and it just changed everything for me. So I want to say that it doesn't have to be big, and like the way you move will be something that it will suit you, the way you are, your personality and what you are experiencing, or with the place that you are with God at that time. But since that day, and also remembering when we were children, and we used to, in the children's ministry, we used to give moves to children, like Sarah, and something you mentioned was Every Move I Make, and I thought about that song, Every Move I Make in you, you make me move, Jesus, and we had this kind of like popping, locking movements that we would do. And yeah, and it was, I see you're on the video there back again, and it was so cool for me to realize that as children, like, it's very hard to keep a child to sit still, and just how important it is for a child to move as well sometimes during worship, and that it's not that unnatural for us. But I've also learned through the time that, and I really believe that there is a lot of power when we worship, because we use hand signs when we want to express more, don't we? And when we clap our hands, you can actually in an audience, you can experience the effect that it has, and not just emotionally, but also like I said, we worship in spirit and in truth. So I really believe that, I believe as somebody who's dancing as well, that using signals like your blessing, or you're receiving, or or you're saying thank you, or things like that, or is a very special and amazing part that we have. And like I said, you can use any other form of art, painting or drama or everything I mentioned. So I just want to encourage everyone, if it's in your personal space or if it's in church, always respect your leaders and respect the church, but praise God with everything. I remember I grew up in a more formal church, and I remember we had one teacher from school, and I remember just seeing her with her closed eyes, and something small like that had an effect on me. I could see and not just hear how somebody worships, and that made a very big difference for me. Same facial expression and everything. So there is one song, and I want to encourage you, when you have private time with God, put on music and do a little bit of movement and experience that. Or when you exercise, use it as prayer time as well. I just want to use this last song to say that our God is very, very, very great. He's faithful, like Sarah Ann said. And I just want to use this song as just to celebrate and to speak, hello, just to speak into our situation, like speak into your lives, speak God's victory and enjoy Him and then just enjoy the music. So there is a song I wanted to play, but I have to play this other song first. So if you give me 1 second, I am going to put on every move I make. So 1 moment, because I'll have it now. You can switch off your camera. Yeah, that's perfect. That's fine.
Before we say goodbye, I just wanted to quickly add this, that I'm so thankful for the fact that we can do it like this and that you can put your video, because worship is also intimacy. And I think often we feel awkward when we're in a class or when we're before other people, because our worship should actually be, you need a place where you can have reckless abandon and where it doesn't matter what it looks like. And I think we live in a society where everything matters, or it matters always what it looks like. And especially in a dance environment, we care a lot about what it looks like. So I'm so thankful that you can facilitate this. We can put our cameras off and there's a safe space to just be, and it doesn't matter what it looks like, because that's what expression is actually. It's very hard in a in a class environment or in a show environment or even in a church environment where we're with other people, to have that reckless abandon. And I think exactly what we're doing now, I think it makes people uncomfortable, because intimacy makes us uncomfortable. If we watch intimacy, we see two people being intimate with each other, it's uncomfortable. You feel like you shouldn't be there. But I hope that this session encourages everyone to create a space for yourself where you can have that type of intimacy, where it doesn't matter what it looks like, and you're just giving expression to what's inside. Because I think that is what worship in spirit and in truth means. It means giving expression, exactly like Sarah Ann said, giving expression to what's inside, and you don't have words. And I think especially in lockdown, there's been so many times when someone has asked me, how are you doing? And I don't know how I'm doing. I don't know. And it was just so I appreciate the fact that you can put everything off, you can put some music on, he sees everything, he understands, he can decode whatever you're putting in front of him. But I want to encourage everyone to create that space where you can just be, because that is worship. And what it does to your body physically, the hormones and the serotonin and everything that it releases, is something that we need. But it's almost like it's a big fight to get there. You feel so awkward. We'd rather sit and listen to music. We'd rather be passive. But once you move, it activates something in your spirit and inside you that I think is very powerful. So thank you also for that. And that was just my 2 cents that I wanted to add before everyone leaves. So thank you, Sarah Ann, and I almost said JT, Annette, for this. And I really hope it encourages everyone to create this space for you, because yes, worship is on stage and it is everything we do, but it's so important to just have a space where you just bleh. And that's why I love the fact that we can put our cameras off and all of that. So thank you.
I was actually just following up with what you said now, Talita. Like, I remember being in a church, actually in my first year when I got saved again. I remember being in a church, and I remember I went to sort of another church for a while, because I thought the church that I got saved in, I was like, these people are crazy because everyone's lifting their hands and dancing around, and I'm like, what's going on? So I went to a different church for a while, and in that church there was everyone was sort of quite like just like you were saying, just like listening and whatever. And there was a lady during the worship who was just like doing this, like she was just singing and like worshiping the Lord. And I saw 2 girls standing behind her laughing at her, and I was just like, man, I don't want to be I want to be free enough to do what that lady's doing. And I think that's what it's about, like you were saying now, just being she was just doing this. She wasn't even doing anything complicated, but it was her time with the Lord, and she was expressing herself to him, and just being before him.
Thank you for this time. And if you want to stay and chat, Sarah, and thank you. It was lovely hearing your real and honest testimony. You are such an inspiration to me from the first day that I met you. When you joined one of our classes, it was just like, wow, who is this human? So she really lives up to everything that she had said now. Thank you so much. It's really been, I think it's going to inspire a lot of people also watching later on. And I hope little ones can hear that, or even people in the industry need to hear that again. Like, go for it, because I think your vrymoedigheid gets taken as you grow older. So if there's anyone who wants to chat or add anything, feel welcome. If you want to leave, then that's also fine. But thank you for joining our little community, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. I'll share the rest of the year's plan. Okay, so we already have the rest of the year. I think our next session might be with Melanie, and then the one after is going to be later in the afternoon with Steph from Florida. So it's going to be an international session, but then I'll just give you the rest of the year's plan, so that you can decide which ones you want to